friends, this is FirearmPop, and today I have another in my series of the armed citizen stories. This makes number 25. Now, this one took really, when I read this story yesterday, I'm going to use as my lead story. I was really taken by it, okay? So much so that I'm going to make this whole article available by PDF. So if you're interested in getting a copy of this to give out to people, to print out yourself, I was originally going to say send you your regular mail address and I'll mail you a copy, but then I thought that's going to get into some bucks. So I can email a PDF of this article to you and give it to every woman you know, an unarmed woman, and it just may be the ticket that brings them over the edge to, not so, everybody doesn't have to have a weapon, pepper spray, a plan, okay? Well, let's get on with the story, and then you'll see why I feel so strongly about this. Anyway, the intruder forced the woman into her bedroom, but that's exactly where she kept her .22 caliber pistol. She broke free, retrieved the gun, and shot her would-be raper several times. Okay, a woman in her early 50s was getting out of the shower when the bathroom lights suddenly went out. An intruder collided into her in the dark, causing her to fall backward into the shower and injure her back. She fought the man, but he put a knife to her throat. Okay, she was telling him she has money and please don't hurt her, said Police Captain Edwin Ritter, adding that the attack was an attempted sexual assault. The intruder forced the woman into her bedroom. That's exactly where she kept her .22 caliber pistol. She broke free, retrieved the gun, and shot her would-be raper several times. He ran out, collapsed, and died. Thank God she's okay, and she had a weapon to protect herself with, said a neighbor. She's a nice lady, just a sweet lady. And that was the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Atlanta, Georgia. Now, boy, there are so many lessons in this one article, I can't contain myself. One, to have a weapon or something, but more so to have a plan. If something like that should happen to you, where's your go-to? What's your plan? Sit there and be submissive? You know, that's what you're going to hear in a later story. Some companies want you to do. Just be submissive, and possibly get, cut up after he was done having his fun. And the other thing was, we hear once again, a .22 caliber revolver. There wasn't a revolver, I'm sorry, a .22 caliber pistol. That's all it's needed. The man's dead, okay? So we can be macho men and carry .357 Magnums like I do, but or whatever, and think that we need more power when a .22 caliber pistol is enough. It's an equalizer, and this 50-year-old woman just dropped this man dead, okay, with her .22 caliber pistol. So I that's why I was so excited when I read this article, and I said, boy, there are so many lessons in this that I just have to share it. I think every responsible gun owner or viewer of mine, anyway, should get a copy of this, print it, and hand it out to their friends. I know I did yesterday. I handed it out to 2 women at work. One has pledged now to get her, submit for her pistol CCW, and in the meantime she's picking up some pepper spray. And I says, put it in a place, maybe have a couple of them in the house, on your keychain, whatever, and practice. Go through it in your mind, what you're going to do, because when the shit hits the fan, in plain English, your adrenaline's going to run, you're going to get nervous and excited. You need to have a plan on what you're going to do. Go over that plan in your mind, so when it does happen, you can stay a little cooler because you know what to do, okay? And that's what we in the gun community do all the time. So, without further ado, let's get on to some other stories here. and there are a lot of interesting ones. I really enjoyed this issue. Okay, once again, and I forgot to do this in the beginning. This is the NRA's first Freedom magazine, and we're going over the armed citizen stories. Okay. Seeking help following an assault at the hands of her boyfriend, a woman phoned her parents. They quickly picked her up and brought her to their home, calmed their terrified daughter, and she went to sleep. After a banging at the door arose, the boyfriend had found her hiding place. The parents would not answer, so the suspect kicked in the door and began assaulting them. The mother was able to struggle free and ran to the bedroom to get her pistol. Meanwhile, the suspect turned his attention to the father. The mother returned to find the suspect badly beating her husband. She opened fire, killing the suspect. And this was in the Orange Ledger, Orange, Texas. Don't mess with those Texans. Texas women know how to use their pistols. Robert Parsley was watching television one evening when he heard a noise outside. He quickly grabbed his Smith & Wesson Model 360 revolver, chambered in .357 Magnum. That's that, my friends. Chambered in .357 Magnum. So he grabbed his Smith & Wesson Model 360 revolver, chambered in .357 Magnum, to investigate. The doorbell rang several times. Parsley looked out the window and saw a man tugging on the locked screen door. Holding the gun behind his back, he turned on the porch light and asked the young man what he was doing. He claimed his wife was in labor and was heavily perspiring. He said that he needed help, but Parsley found the man's story suspicious. His instincts were correct. Earlier that evening, the man stole an excavator and used it to severely damage a church. Parsley lowered the gun, bringing it into view. "Sorry for waking you," the young man said as he ran off. Two police cruisers pulled up with their spotlights on, searching for the suspect. Parsley told them in what direction the suspect had run, and they found him breaking into a home nearby. And that was in Raleigh, North Carolina. In 2007, shortly after pharmacist Jeremy Hovind began working the night shift at Walgreens, the store was robbed by 4 armed gunmen. Despite workers' security complaints, Walgreens made no changes. So Hovind obtained a concealed carry permit and purchased a firearm. Early this year, Hovind was behind the counter when 2 masked robbers carrying guns burst inside. According to Police Department Delmar Large, the robbers were very aggressive and very dangerous in what they did and how they did it. The robbers ordered all employees into the back room. Hovind fired upon the robbers, likely hitting one and causing both to flee. Unfortunately, Walgreens fired the heroic armed citizen for carrying a gun. And that was in the Herald Palladian in St. Joseph, Michigan. Now, also in the same issue, Wayne LaPierre wrote an article on that very story, that same story. He repeats the same story, and he goes, he received the thanks of his co-workers and the praise of local police, but 8 days after the incident, Hovind was fired by Walgreens. In a statement, the company says, "Compliance is safer than confrontation. In reality, compliance with these armed robbers could have led to a tragedy." News stories where pharmacists have been killed by robbers aren't hard to find. Many of these robberies seem to be conducted by individuals seeking narcotics, and companies such as Walgreens have had mandatory compliance policies force employees to place their lives in the hands of of the strung out and the violent drug addicts. Walvin says he wants to continue working as a pharmacist, although he won't be for Walgreens. He's hoping that Hovind finds another job soon at a location that won't prevent him from acting in defense of himself and others. Now, okay, I don't know how you feel about that article, brothers and sisters, but Walgreens won't see any of my green stuff. That's like Pizza Hut. Sorry, I know there's probably a lot of people out there that like Pizza Hut, but they forbid their drivers from carrying. And you want the job, you got to put your life at risk. At least give me a fighting chance. At least give this pharmacist a fighting chance. He's a law-abiding citizen, responsibly carrying a weapon. Sorry, can't tolerate it. I won't go to Pizza Hut anymore. And now Walgreens is just X'd off my list. There's plenty of other places that would provide the same service. Anyway, continuing on. Tim Lewis was at the park throwing a frisbee for his German Shepherd when he said, "All hell broke loose." 3 pit bulls, all off-leash, quickly advanced upon his dog, and one of them attacked. Lewis tried to pull the pit bull off, but then the other 2 joined in. The owner of the pit bull showed up and helped Lewis pull back the most aggressive pit bull, but then it turned on Lewis. That's when Lewis, a concealed carry permit holder, drew his pistol and fired a shot, striking the attacking dog. The wounded dog was recovering after surgery. "If I didn't have my gun, I'd be dead right now," Lewis said. It's not something I wanted to do. I love animals." And that was in Kirkland, the Kirkland patch in Kirkland, Washington. Okay. Then 3 men claiming to be contractors told 86-year-old Walter Pepple that his roof was leaking and that he needed to pay them $11,700 to fix it. He smelled a rat. The roof was in good condition and the men had no uniforms, business cards, or logo on their vehicle. One of the men was so bold as to climb atop Pepple's roof without permission, claiming he needed to inspect it. Pepple told the men to leave the house instead. Instead, they shouted at Pepple, frightening his wife and demanding he pay them to fix the roof. That's when Pepple got his original Winchester Model 94 lever action and pointed it at the scammers. They fled before Pepple could record their license plate number. I'm sorry, I find that funny, man. I mean, here's this 86-year-old man. You're going to mess with him? He's pulling out his rifle, and these guys took off for the hills. Okay, sorry. I just find that, I can just visualize that in my mind, and it's just really. And that was in Stroudsburg, PA. Okay, PA, another very gun-friendly state. Anyway, friends, I hope you enjoyed this issue of Armed Citizen Stories. I sure did, as you can tell. Some really moved me, and some excited me, and some made me laugh. So I guess that's a good day. So, and once again, become my friend on Facebook at FirearmPop. Okay, you can find me on the web at FirearmPop.com. And as usual, this is FirearmPop. Be safe out there, and God bless. Bye now.